10 things you should know about DragonCon, especially if you're going for the first time in 2025, from someone who's been going since 2008, and more importantly, from someone who's had a blast pretty much every single year. Welcome to another episode of How to DragonCon. My name is Kong. I will be your guide. I've got my notes ready, so if I glance over there once in a while, please excuse it. But we're going to get started with the basic info, such as the date. When is DragonCon? It happens Labor Day weekend, which is the first Monday in September. And in 2025, that is going to be DragonCon starts on Thursday, August the 28th, and ends at 5 p.m. Monday, September the 1st. Now, while the nutty ones like me come in on Wednesday, that's because we like to have an easier time checking in at the hotels, actually walk around and see some friends. The actual convention doesn't start till Thursday. That's when you can pick up your badge. That's when events and panels actually start happening, and even a few late night dances as well. Point number 2, the where. This is not going to be the first time I tell you that DragonCon is not like most other conventions. And one of the ways that it stands out is that it doesn't take place in a giant convention center. It's actually spread across over 5 host hotels, which I'm going to put on the screen. And in addition to those hotels, there's also multiple buildings with the America's Mart that houses the dealer hall and a few other things as well. As you can imagine, it's spread out over several blocks. You're going to do a lot of walking. A lot of that's going to be outdoors on the streets of downtown Atlanta with the pavement just kicking back that hot, humid heat. So just be warned, you're not going to have the comforts of being indoor the whole time. Number 3, how to attend, aka a little primer on the badges, the tickets, or as the con likes to call it, a membership. And there's 3 options when it comes to that. The main one, of course, is going to be the full weekend badge. I still think this is the best bang for your buck, whether you buy it early in advance or super late in the year. And I say that because if you didn't know, DragonCon is actually the cheapest in September for the following year. And then every 2 months or so, it'll go up in price about $15 till it hits the summer, and then it's pretty much at that max price for the year. The second option you have for badges is, of course, single day passes. And I will say this twice, single day passes don't go on sale till August. So if you see this video any other time and you're trying to look for them and you don't see the single day option, single day passes don't go on sale until August, or roughly a month before the con starts. And just to be a completionist, the third option for memberships is to be an eternal member, which is where you buy it once and you have lifetime access to DragonCon for as long as the event is going on. Now, the price is pretty absurd, but back when 2008, when I started going, it was only $750. It's definitely one of the biggest regrets I have not to have bought it at the time, because it probably would have paid for itself after a few years. Another thing that really set the Eternal membership apart back in the day, back when DragonCon did not come into the 21st century and they were still using binders to actually look up people one by one at badge registration. So of course it took 2 or 3 hours, like guaranteed. No one was getting around the long registration line except the Eternal members, who got their own badge pickup area, and it went a lot faster. Of course, it's not something that I have, so if you are an Eternal, please feel free to share when you bought it and if there's other perks that we should probably know about if we ever want to consider going that route. Thing number 4 is the schedule. Typically, the schedule will not come out until a week or 2 if you're lucky, before the actual con starts. But that is not to say that you shouldn't be doing your research early, because the app will still have info from 2024. It's highly recommended that if you're going to DragonCon for the first time, that you actually study the app just to be familiar with it, just to get an idea of what type of programming and events DragonCon has to offer. And it's a lot. That's why the sooner you start, the more time you'll have to actually digest and process it. And by the time it actually all updates for 2025, you'll be ready to go. You'll be able to pick out what you want to do without feeling too overwhelmed. And the other thing I want to say about scheduling is it's kind of a joke between people who've been going for a while now. The entire schedule is subject to change. Let me repeat that. The entire schedule is subject to change until the very last moment. So until your butt is in that panel and the panel actually started and you are visualizing it with your own eyes, it can still change. So when you're at the con, be sure to update the app several times. Go to the info booths if your phone is not working for some reason, because schedules do change even up to the day, up to the hour before a panel or an event starts. And on a related note, when it comes to subject to change, I know that the main reason a lot of people come to DragonCon for the first time is to see a certain celebrity guest, or maybe a few guests. Their appearance is also subject to change. Remember, a lot of these are working actors, and if they get a paid gig, they're going to take that over a convention appearance. I've seen it happen even days before a con. DragonCon will unfortunately have to announce that so-and-so will no longer be able to attend because of an obligation that came up last minute. I would encourage any newbie not to be discouraged because your badge is non-refundable. So please try not to put 100% of your emotional investment in just seeing one or two different guests because there's so much more going on at DragonCon. And for you to leave disappointed, I feel will be doing a disservice to the con itself. And while on the topic of celebrity guests, number 6 you should know is the Walk of Fame, which is the giant ballroom where the majority of the media guests are going to be. And it's pretty much understood that at least for the days that that guest is announced for, that they will be in the Walk of Fame pretty much all day from the time it opens until it closes. Reason being is because that's where the guests are going to make most of their money. They're going to be at a table, they're going to sign autographs, some of them may do selfies, other voice recordings, things like that. And of course, the longer they're there, the more money they're going to make. But that also means that's your best chance to actually chat and talk to a guest for a minute or two. Basically, it'll go like this. Once you get in there in the main ballroom, you're going to go to the table that has your guest. More than likely, they will have a line of other fans who want to meet them as well. So you just get in line, you wait till it's your turn, give your money to the handler, ask what it is that you want, whether it's an autograph, a selfie, an inscription, whatever else it is, and then go have your interaction. Try not to linger too long if there's people behind you. And as a side note, it is technically okay just to go up to say hi to a celebrity for free. But do keep in mind that their handler may kind of rush you along if they kind of realize that, hey, you're not going to be paying them. Oh, one more thing for price, what I've seen from recent experience, and I've pretty much done this every year that I've gone and seen the price increase. About the cheapest autograph I see nowadays is about $30, with most guests actually being a little bit higher than that. Number 7 is celebrity photo ops. This is not the same as getting a selfie at the table in the Walk of Fame. This is actually in a different area of the hotel entirely. And it's done by a company called Epic Photo Ops. I have bookmarked their link below. You might want to bookmark it yourself so that you can keep an eye on when they go on sale, how much they are, what kind of combo pictures they're doing, as well as a schedule when the event is really close as well. Now, for those who have never done it, please know that this is a very, very rushed experience. It's basically a cattle call. So you're going to get in line for the time slot that you were given by Epic for the guest that you want to take a picture with. And once that starts, it's usually over in about 15 to 30 minutes. They process hundreds and hundreds of fans during that time, so it has to move pretty fast. And when it's your turn, you're going to go up and say hello. You're going to look at the photographer. It's going to go flash, and boom, you are done. In about 10 seconds or less, they're going to shoo you along. This is not the place where you want to try to have a conversation or give them a gift or anything like that. You are going to get pushed along for the next person behind you. And as for prices, again, in my experience, it's been about $40 as the cheapest photo op that I've seen in recent years, with most people going a lot more, sometimes over 100 or 200 if it's like a group shot. Pro tip, what I would recommend is actually you find and bring a photo protector because you get an 8x10 when you pay for it. The JPEG, you usually have to pay extra for that, but you want to bring that protector so that you don't have to go all around the con looking for one, or you don't have to pay for marked up prices that Epic may be selling when you go to pick up your photo. And point number 8, of course, the cheapest way to see a guest is at a panel, and your badge pretty much entitles you to 99% of the different panels that go on. But do keep in mind, if it's a really big ballroom or if it's really popular, A, you may not even be able to get in because it's already full at capacity. Or 2, even if you get in, because it's such a massive room, you're not going to be up close and you're just going to be watching a giant screen above your head. And on the subject of panels, I'm going to get back to a point I made earlier. There are hundreds and hundreds of panels that go on, so please don't be discouraged if you happen to miss one that has big celebrity guests. There's so many other things going on that's probably worth checking out. If you look at the app, you'll see that the panels and events are divided by tracks. And essentially, in a nutshell, what a track is, it's just a fandom or just an overarching theme. So to give you an example, there's one a track for Star Wars, one for Star Trek, one for high fantasy, one for robotics, things like that. And there's roughly like 30 of them at the con. So it's actually more appropriate to say that DragonCon really is about 30 different mini cons going on at the same time in adjacent rooms. So you're pretty much at like a buffet. You're not at a con where it's just limited to anime or video game. You have 30 different topics and fandoms to kind of pick and choose how you want to schedule your day. And I would encourage you to dabble. Don't just try to narrowly focus on one thing because there's so much going on. Point number 9, you should know Saturday is the busiest day. So I know for a lot of people, they can only attend for one day or they are afraid to commit for the full weekend. And I feel like most newbies end up picking Saturday thinking that it's the most events that are going on. And to a certain extent, it may be true, but the problem is those big events, when it comes to things like getting in the dealer hall, attending a big celebrity panel, attending a big late night dance party, everyone's going to be attending them. So you're going to lose a lot of time just waiting in line an hour plus just to get into an event. And you may not even get in. It may be so crowded and so full that even after your long wait, you still get turned away at the door because they're not taking any more people. The other big time sink on Saturday, you're going to lose hours just getting from one event to another. Again, it's so crowded. I pretty much avoid a lot of the crowded areas on Saturday, especially the tunnels that connect the different buildings. It's just become a hassle. I've literally had times where I'm just sitting and it's been 5 minutes and I've barely moved a few inches. You're shoulder to shoulder, you're cramped, there's so many people around you. It's just not fun. It's not too much better walking outside because even the streets are super packed and it's always super hot outside. But I hope that the take home here is Saturday can be a miserable experience if that's the only day you're there and you're rushing to get from one thing to another and you really don't have a choice but to just lose precious time trying to get somewhere because you're either stuck in the human traffic or you're stuck in a line just trying to see one thing. So if you have any type of flexibility at all and you can only attend for one day, I would highly encourage you to look at Friday or Sunday as that day. Number 10, please remember to have fun. This is a Comic Con where people dress up. This is where we celebrate our fandoms and share our love for characters, movies, everything under the sun. And if you ask 100 attendees what they're doing, you're going to get 100 different answers. And that's part of the beauty of DragonCon. You've had people who will pack their schedule back to back to back and they have a million backup options, and other people who've never downloaded the app or even attended a panel. They're just there for vibes, to take pictures, to show off their costumes, and just soak in the experience. What I would encourage you to do is dabble in a little bit of everything, especially if you're new. You're not quite sure what you're going to like, so you might as well sample a little bit from each of the different offerings that the con has to offer. Oh, and one last tip, be selfish with your time. If you've been looking forward to this event the entire year and you're just waiting and waiting, your friends haven't shown up yet, or they're like, oh, I don't really want to go to this event with you, then say, hey, look, I'll meet up with you afterwards. Okay, I do want to see this event. My con hours are precious. They'll understand. So don't be afraid to go to an event solo because you have potential friends pretty much everywhere waiting for you. Like if you're going to an event, you're there with similar minded people who also love the very same thing. So you've got people that you can probably talk to and at least pass the next hour. That's about all I have, but if you have any suggestions that I can add for future videos with a similar topic, please feel free to share them in the comments. I do plan on making a few more similar top 10 lists or things like that where I talk about packing, restaurants, or just how to survive a day at the con. Anyways, thanks for watching and I will see you next time.